Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Women's World. Today we'll be talking about a very important step that the Egyptian government is taking, that is the digitalization, and how Egypt has embarked 3 years ago on a new stage of digitalizing all its services in perhaps all domains of life. So today we'll be talking about this very important issue, and we'll be linking it to a very important industry here in Egypt, that is vaccination and microbiology. We have a special report about Egypt's digitalization transformation, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Stemming from Egypt Vision 2030, in line with Egypt's commitment towards Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) 2035, the government of Egypt has formulated a comprehensive vision that includes the fundamentals related to transforming Egypt into a digital society where all technologies in almost all fields of life can be integrated. Within context, the government has worked on promoting and developing the infrastructure of communications and information technology. It has also covered improving digital services at all ministries and government agencies and raising the efficiency of governmental services by providing a better work environment and necessary support to government agencies. In addition, the government has taken significant steps towards transformation into a digital economy. This came in line with its valiant attempts to accelerate the development pattern and improve the quality of life for citizens via developing infrastructure and investing in human capital. The strategic objectives of digital transformation in Egypt mainly rely on improving services presented to citizens via digitizing them. They also depend on linking governmental digital systems to improve work at the state's administrative apparatus and ensuring efficiency and effectiveness. Promoting electronic governance and principles of transparency, accountability, and monitoring at all government agencies is another strategic objective. The Egyptian government has implemented many structural reforms, including economic, financial, and monetary policies, in addition to taxes, privatization, and new trade legislation. This helped Egypt move towards a more market-oriented economy and boost increased foreign investment, strengthen the results of annual macroeconomic growth. His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi launched the Digital Transformation Initiative for the Egyptian government 3 years ago. It is to re-engineer the process, move government institutions to new business models, provide e-services to the citizen in a smart, efficient, and effective digital way, as the citizen is the core business of the comprehensive sustainable development, implement government elimination of corruption, increase citizen satisfaction, and saves time and money. Gentlemen, as we mentioned earlier, we'll be talking about Egypt's digital transformation and how this is very important in various domains, especially when it comes to the manufacturing of vaccines here in Egypt. We are very much honored to have with us today here in the studio Dr. Maha Abdellatif Hassan, and she is the former Strategic Planning Director in Biological Manufacturing. Thank you very much, Dr. Maha, for being with us today.
Thank you for being today with you. It's a pleasure for me.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, let's start with getting to know you better. Before we went on air, you were telling me about your career and your graduation and your educational background. So would you share that with us?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm Abdellatif Hassan. I graduated from microbiology science in 1984. Mm-hmm. I'm starting my work in healthcare. Medical healthcare, and I keep going to seek opportunities until I was in the biological industry, 1990 really. I'm starting in this area for production first, then quality control, quality assurance, validation. This is all areas inside this complicated manufacturing. This manufacturing mainly depend on technology and depend on computerized equipment. That make our
So digitalization
Yes,
is
yes.
very important in
yes,
this
very
field.
important, and that make it easy from the easiest industries to go digitalization faster, because our machine, most of them working in PLC. Uh, that no,
So you depend on advanced technology basically in this
all the
field.
time, all the time. The equipment, the environment, the facilities, the facilities managed from first to the end through technology, through computer and programs. That's why when we transform for digitalization, it will be more easier than other industries and other governmental services.
Okay, so I want to ask you from here, Dr. Maha, the field of vaccination here in Egypt, it's one of the vital sectors
Yes.
in the country, and perhaps during the corona pandemic, and the issue of vaccines and how this issue was
affected.
was problematic to the government and to the citizens.
Yes.
And some people were reluctant, of course, to take the vaccines in the beginning, and then the government started taking steps towards encouraging the citizens. Everyone got vaccinated, they got reassured about the safety of the vaccines, and then emerged the idea of how Egypt is actually manufacturing vaccines, not only for the coronavirus, but in the pharmaceutical industry at large.
Actually, Egypt starting biological manufacturing 100 years ago. Through
Egypt is a pioneer country in this.
Through governmental organization, which transformed it to semi-governmental
holding companies.
Yeah. And nowadays, our government encourage the investors and the private sector to go through this manufacturing, especially after Corona.
Yes.
Because when we are in the epidemic, we just depend on one organization. That's why they now think about to diversity.
Yes.
In manufacturing.
Yes.
This manufacturing is somewhat complicated and governed by rules and regulation worldwide. Egypt had been started to upgrade the regulatory affairs, Egyptian regulatory affairs, to the EDA, Egyptian Drug Authority.
Yes.
And this authority, those people had been on continuous training with WHO, and they are very upgraded until we are now have regulatory devices which is recognized worldwide.
Okay.
And what this add value for our manufacturing?
Yes, for us.
For us, it is very helpful to help the investors and private sector to go in this industry, because it's very costly. And then with this recognized regulatory, we open the export. You got the idea?
Yes.
That one of the important things happen. Also, digitalization starting in the EDA maybe 6 years ago.
Yes.
Now worldwide.
Yes.
The registration of drugs now is electronic. Okay. Many things. Training is virtual, and link between authority is the regulatory authorities and the companies and manufacturing. Mainly electronic now.
It's digital.
It's
Yes.
digitalized. Yes. As I mentioned, the industry itself is computerized from the beginning.
Yes. How do you see this as progressing now, as developing now, since Egypt is actually developing its infrastructure in order to cope with the new digital era?
This is very, very helpful for the manufacturer to start to upgrade their facilities, and also the new technologies, technology transfers. This all technology depend on digitalization devices, and this will be very helpful for the new comer to this industry.
Dr. Ma, tell me more about the pharmaceutical industry and how Egypt has been focusing on this for the past years, of course adding the digital part to it, but giving importance to manufacturing medicine and vaccines here in Egypt. How do you see that?
Those are two different areas. Pharmaceuticals is somewhat different from biologicals.
Okay.
And vaccines and serum. Pharmaceutical depend on chemicals and so on. Also depend on research and the new drugs and so on. We are in a good position in pharmaceutical industry. We are exporting for many countries, and we have mega factories in Egypt, actually, for pharmaceutical. And we serve all the sectors of medicine by our products. For the manufacture of biologicals and vaccines and serum, it's more advanced and more
complicated,
depend on technology, depend on life organism.
Yes.
You start with life organism. You don't start with chemical. You know the reaction will go where. But if we start with life organism, and you have to control all environment around this organism to have a part of his activity which serves the immunity of the human being.
So as you were explaining to me before we went on air, you said that the virus or the microbe has a license. It has to be licensed in order to start dealing with.
If you would like to produce a certified product and authorized product, you have to start from the beginning with certified and authorized materials, including the microorganisms. That's why there is a worldwide organization certifies the organism, and you have two choices. You can isolate the organism and go through a long complicated process to certify this organism, or you can buy the certified organism from these organizations directly and start the production with the certified strains. Then the production everywhere, starting by the organism, then according to the researches and the researchers, you know how to deal with this organism to get the part you need for the immunization. Some organisms I need the toxin. Some organisms have endotoxin or exotoxin. What's the meaning of? And the organism have toxin, and this toxin is part affect and induce the disease for the human. That's why I use this part only to make the immunization. The difference between vaccine and serum: vaccine is factors we prepare it to activate the immune system of the human. It takes at least 15 days to have the immunity inside the body. Serum is prepared antibodies outside the body, and then I introduce it to the patient or to the human directly, and the big difference between both, this is for emergency and this is for long acting. The vaccine, when I receive vaccine, then my immunity is go up. And when I receive serum, I just have a big dose of immunity, and it will be declined by the time. But I need it also for the emergency, as I said. Okay. The manufacturing itself, it is depend on many steps.
Okay.
Maybe from scratching to the end, like I illustrate, or you can make technology transfer.
Yes.
To start when the others end.
Yes.
If you start technology transfer, normally it starts from the end to the beginning. Then you start with the packaging process, then the formulation process, then the fillings, and so on, until you go to the first steps.
Yes.
Then technology transfer normally starts from the end to the beginning. That's why it's the stages.
Yes.
Every stage have too many years. Yani you have to stay in every stage for dedicated time until you start.
That could take years.
Yes,
in each
years.
stage.
Yes, it takes years.
Yes.
The building a new facility for biologicals also take years. Take minimum from 3 to 6 years to have the facility and certify it and validate every process. You need about from 3 to 6 years.
And how do you see Egypt's position in this regard? Let's talk regionally and internationally. Do you think that we can actually start manufacturing? We are already manufacturing. Can we start actually exporting our vaccines to other countries, or is it going to be sufficient for the local production?
We hope to cover all our needs, then we export. And I will surprise you, we export already some of serum and vaccines. We export already before. But as I said, this manufacturing is fastly developing fast, very fast, fast, and very expensive.
Of course.
Then Egypt need to be more faster and more technologized to cope with international.
Yes, to cope with
That's why our organization, the Egyptian organization, which is starting in the beginning of 19th, was being old, and its facility was being old. They need to upgrades.
Yes.
And the upgrades is you know, the regulation governing this industry, its name current GMP, current good manufacturing practices.
Yes.
Current stand for upgrading.
Okay.
Not good manufacturing practice. The current, the latest, the latest one.
Yes.
You have to follow. You have
yes.
State of art. Yes, of course. That's but Egypt is in a good position because you see upon the COVID vaccine, it's suddenly epidemic, and we are ready by our facilities.
Of course.
Our facilities was being upgraded before and ready. WHO visit the facility and approved Egypt to start manufacturing the vaccine under, of course, the regulation of EDA and authorization from EDA. And we start from technology transfer by another country and under the governing of them. We start from the bulk stage. We have the bulk stage, then we formulate and filling and so on, and packaging.
I'd like to thank you very much, Dr. Maha Abdellatif Hassan, former Strategic Planning Director in Biological Manufacturing. Thank you very much, Dr. Maha, for being with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in this edition of Women's World. I'm Halal Hamalawi, signing off for now.